My name is Branen, and the company that I own is called Huff and Puff. We make locally, like we make a local style puffed rice snack. We infuse like macadamia nuts, Kona coffee, just kind of like flavors that represent the Hawaiian island, Hawaii. So yeah, here we go. I'm pretty nervous, so just kind of bear with me. I'm doing my best. Okay. So my mother actually started the company back in 2009, and she ran it from 2009 to about 2016. And at that point, she was gonna kind of put it down. So I had mentioned to her that I would be willing to try it. And I always had the same mindset where it's kind of just like, what do I got to lose? So I was working like an entry-level job, and then I felt like if this didn't work out, I could always go back and find another entry-level job. So I was kind of like, what do I got to lose? So we tried it, and we started in my grandmother's kitchen. This is my grandmother's kitchen, and that's my grandmother. Yeah, we just got to work, and we had a lot of fun doing it, and we made a lot of great memories along the way. So for us, I feel like every culture, every Asian culture has their own version of this puffed rice snack. And in Japan, they call it like okoshi. And then in like China, they call it like tong mai. And in Korea, they have their own version. The Philippines, they have their own version. So for us, it was kind of just, we wanted to make our version like a Hawaii version. So when these Asian foreigners or tourists come, they can always, it's something that they can kind of relate to, but it's also a little different because I'm like the Japanese version, they don't put like macadamia nuts inside, or they all put a little bit, something different. So for us, it was kind of like just put like local Hawaiian ingredients inside. Yeah. Here we go. About me, I'm from here, born and raised. I took over in 2016, and yeah, that's pretty much all I do. I work a lot, and I hang out with my family, my friends, fishing, hiking, like a normal human being. That's my mom and me at our first craft fair in the very beginning, back in 2017 or 2016. If there's any questions at any point, like feel free. Just no shame, but anyway, I think I covered this part already with the history of the puff rice and how how every culture has their own version. Yeah. So for us, we started by passing out a lot of samples. I think this really helped us to grow. Because our company, when we first started, we were only selling about 15 bags a week. So at that point, I was happy. We would go to craft fairs, and we would move 15 bags a week, I remember. And I would think to myself, like, not really knowing much about business, like, wow, I'm selling 15 bags at $6. I'm making like $100. Like, oh, this is pretty awesome. This is like a full day's work. So I did that, not knowing that, gross sales and your bottom line are two totally different things. And I just kept going, and we were moving 15 bags a week. And what really started to help us was passing out samples. So we would have like these little trays, and we would pass out samples so that people could try. And I'm not a good salesperson, and I would never, ever pressure somebody to buy the product. but I would pressure them to kind of try the product, So we would kind of be like, here, try it. And if they tried it and they didn't like it or they didn't purchase, like that's totally fine because to me, they met me like halfway and they're willing to at least try it. And that's what I think was kind of like, it made a huge difference for us was the sampling and the persistence and just continuing to pass out hundreds of thousands of samples, at all these shows that we went to. Because later on, COVID happened. I don't know if you guys all remember that. And if it wasn't for the samples prior to COVID from 2016 to 2020, I don't think we would still be around, but I think the sampling promoted our product and got our name out there enough, like wide enough so that it kind of saved us. Like during COVID, it was really hard for us and passing out samples, I think, was a game changer. Yeah. So when we first started, I could make 300 bags a day, and that would take me 10 hours just myself. You could ask my family, they saw me. I would start at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we would work till late at night, And my first year, we did so many overnighters that I lost track. You would hear the birds in the morning and you would think like, you're crazy, And then slowly we got smarter and we got better because I had no business experience or everything is kind of like new. So when you're first starting off, it's like, you have no idea where you're going with this. You're just going and you just continue to just try and try and try. And we got lucky. And from there, we got better and our company got bigger and we were able to move into a facility in 2021. I had all my family, they all came down. My dad came down to check it out, my parents, and we all I had to make the decision to finally get a little factory, which is where we're at now, out in Halava. And here we can do about 1,000 bags a day. It still takes us about 10 hours though, but it's a lot better than 300 bags by myself, all day, all night. We got a little team now. Some of my workers are back there and family. So yeah. Some of the challenges that we face as a small business, it's for one, staffing. Staffing is always an issue everywhere you go, I feel like, especially in Hawaii. With the cost of labor, the labor cost just tends to be a little higher. COVID, that was a big challenge. Inflation is, of course, another challenge. You can't really stop it. But the biggest challenge is also our growth because we're continuing to grow fairly quickly. Year over year, it's like 30-something% every year. So for us and our small team, it's like, we're always just give everybody, my whole staff, honestly, if they don't give it their all, I kind of like get a little mad at them, like you can ask them because they know, because we're constantly growing and it's like, it's a constant fight. So that's it's a good problem, but it's still a problem that we need to learn how to adapt with. We got supply chain issues because we live on an island. Everything, it has to come here first, and then you got that cost to bring it over, and then you got another cost to send it back to the mainland or wherever it's going. So it's like double. And then weather, but that's just... Yeah, so we first started off with the macadamia nut flavor, which is still our most popular. And then we had the arare flavor, which is the second one. From there, we did a lot of craft fairs, and at the craft fairs, the customers would tell us what they wanted. So they would say like, oh, you should make a ginger. So we would experiment, or you should make a coffee. And you kind of like listening to your customers because they'll always kind of guide you in the right direction. Maybe not like you can't listen to every customer, but you kind of get a hint, like, okay, like 100 people are telling me make a coffee flavor. So we did, and another 100 people told me make a ginger. So we did. And now people are telling us like ube, so then we recently made a ube flavor. People are saying like make bite-sized pieces, So we finally made bite-sized pieces. So they kind of like, they'll tell us, for us anyway, they'll tell us what is next, So we also created, I would say, a higher end line, because we can only produce 1,000 bags, and maybe that seems like a lot. It's that's still a very small amount for us, and we'll sell the whole 1,000. So instead of trying to compete with like mass scale, we try to make a higher end line, which is like a more premium version of what we do. So we have we dipped it in chocolate, so that we can't, like a lot of companies, they might make like a cheaper version if they can produce enough, and then they'll just kind of widespread it, but we can't right now. So we're trying to make a higher end line in order to continue to grow in that area. But yeah, that's it. So earlier this year, back in March, we partnered with Diamond Bakery. And since we partnered with them, our distribution had really gone widespread. And that's kind of why we're running into so many issues currently. Let's see, so these are some of the stores that we sell it at. Yep, and then our future goals. Well, we have quite a bit. We are currently working on making like a smaller bag, so like a half-size bag. So that's a regular size bag, in case you guys haven't noticed, they're 5 ounces. We're trying to make a smaller bag, like a 2.5 ounce or 2 ounce bag, so that we can sell it to like 7-Eleven and ABC stores. And then we're also trying to make a larger bag, like a double the size, so we can sell it to like Sam's Club. From there, we would like to expand ideally to like the West Coast. And then from there, like, different countries. But yeah, step by step. And I think first we need to figure out how to increase our production to make more than 1,000 bags. Yep, that's pretty much it. So if there's any questions, let me know. Thank you. Go ahead. Bye.
Did you have any flavors that you tried but didn't work out?
Yeah, all the time. We made a lihimoy flavor. It's not that they don't work out. I believe they would work out with the correct amount of time. So somebody told me that, as long as you're consistent with what you're doing. So actually, it was my father that told me this. He said, as long as you're consistent, whether your beef stew is good or not, you'll have a customer base. So I believe that if I had enough time and we passed out enough samples to so many people, and would find a customer base. Not everybody likes coffee, but then if you like coffee, then boom, you have a coffee customer, right? Not everybody likes ginger, but the people that like ginger will buy the ginger flavor. So I think it just takes enough time, and it could be good. But for us, since we can only produce so much, honestly, most of our time is spent making 3 flavors, because that's what the 3 most popular. The customers buy those. We do have other flavors that we're trying to introduce, but production is always a challenge. Yep.
So what makes you choose making the snack of rice instead of like potatoes or other kind of food?
Oh yeah. My mother actually started this company, so she wanted to do the puff rice thing, and then when she was not going to do it, I figured I'd try, you know, so yeah. And it just turned out that we got really lucky. You know, it turned out that rice is like a staple in Hawaii, so that's a positive thing, it's a plus. And then also macadamia nuts, like everybody, like tourists really like macadamia nuts. And it's kind of a draw. So we kind of just lucked out, I would say. We got lucky along the way. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Thanks for asking questions, by the way, because if not, I'll just be standing up here, just looking right at you guys. Anyway, go ahead.
Since you also worry about like staffing issues and like being able to kind of spread out, are you considering opening more factories, or you feel like it will spread you too thin? Is the problem like the square footage, or is it enough people?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, we are currently working on expanding, and we got so lucky that a few months ago, the graduate program right behind you from Shidler reached out to us and offered to help us figure out this problem, because like I know myself, and I'm not the smartest human being. You know, I'm just a hard worker. I'm like a really hard worker. So, and I got really lucky along the way. So, we got these graduate students that are helping us to make sure that if we were to expand, it would still, you know, like be viable, and it would still be a scalable company, not something that was gonna cause us to go bankrupt, you know? Yeah, so yeah, they are helping, and hopefully we're negotiating with our current landlords to occupy more space, yeah. And then from there, we would hire more people or automate, and hopefully that would solve a lot of our issues. But yeah, thank you.
I have two questions, but I'll ask one right now. What strategies do you have in place to cover your bottom line?
What strategies?
And I guess just considering like your product, but also like to pay for like the rent at your space.
The expansion, you mean?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. For us right now, we can make like 1,000 bags, and it's just not enough. You know, we're working 7 days a week, 1,000 bags every single day, and it's just gone. You know, Diamond would take everything. They'll take it all, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, next week we're coming again." You know, and it's been like this for about 8 months now. So, it's profitable. You know, it's not like we're worried about if it's like profitable or not. It's more just like we're trying to keep up with the demand. We've talked with like 3 distributors from Japan, and they want to sell it too, but we're kind of just we have to tell them no. You know, like 7-Eleven and ABC stores have approached us, and we have to tell them no. Sam's Club too. They've asked, and we can only produce so much. So if we can figure that, I think if we can figure that part out, then, you know, hopefully, we can satisfy the like the demand issue. Yeah. And your second question.
You mentioned automation.
Yeah.
Processes are you trying to automate?
Yeah, so they have like, you know, all the big boys, like they don't do it by like we do it by hand, you know, so we're all like manual labor. But then the bigger companies, they all use machines. And recently we went up to Vegas, and they showed us the machines that can basically do what we're doing by hand. And hopefully we can get that equipment eventually. But thank you, yeah. Hey, Jason. Hi. Yep. Anything else? Oh, Professor.
Thanks for your inspiring story.
Yeah.
And I have a question. So during your presentation, you mentioned ever since partnering with the Diamond Bakery, you have an issue here and there. I am assuming that's related to the expansion and the demand. So can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the kind of stuff I talk with my team about every single day. You know, like when I first moved into this factory, we were only working 3 days a week. You know, we were probably starting at 9 and finishing at 2. You know, and we had a good work-life balance like normal human beings. You know, and as time gone, as our company grew, we started working 4 or 5 days, and then we're not working 8 hours anymore. We're working like 9, 10 hours every day. And then we partnered with Diamond to grow even more. And now we're working 7. You know, it's just because of they're pretty big in terms of distribution, and they've gotten us like statewide into way more stores, that so much that we're working all the time, and it's just like you know. So hopefully we can expand and we can go back to like working 3 or 4 days. You know, I mean, have that work-life balance, which is kind of I think it's ideal. And honestly, it's not too fair. It's not fair for my team that's like working every day too. You know, they need a break as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
After hearing that you're working every day, I feel bad for saying this, but are you gonna make the chocolate covered?
Yeah, we did actually. Yeah, we have. So we brought in. I had to bring in more people this week so that we could make the dipped ones for you guys. Because yeah, we haven't made it in like since Made in Hawaii. We made it, and ever since then, you know, we've been focusing on supplying to the stores, and we haven't had the time to dip it. Lucky thing though, I brought in more people this week because of this event. You know, I didn't want to come like bring nothing, right? So I wanted to bring something that's like a little special. So we made the ube one, and then we made the regular chocolate dipped ones for you guys to take home. But yeah, I really appreciate all you guys coming and you know, giving us your time, giving me your time. Yeah, yeah.
It's one of the problems like the size of the facility and maybe like energy production costs. Would you agree?
Yeah, we kind of maxed out our shop. So like I had an office at one point. The office is gone. It's all storage now, you know. And you can ask. These people in front. They've came to our shop, and it's like just boxes everywhere. You know, it's kind of scary. So I know we need to expand. So hopefully, in the near future, we can, so that we can take on more. I guess for me, I'm always more on the conservative side of things. You know, some business owners, they want to like grow real fast, and for me, I want to make sure every bases are covered. Yeah, you know, like I need to cover my bases before and line up these stores before I take that jump. So when I did move into my factory, I had quite a few stores like lined up already. So when I moved into the factory, I called Foodland and I said, hey, you know, we can produce more now. Would you guys like to sell our product? And they said, yeah. Or hey, duty free, you know, or hey, dough plantation. That way, it's not as scary, you know, because yeah, you kind of have it lined up already before you expand. Yeah, you know. So then when you do expand, you have a little cushion, like a little more chance, like a little more fighting chance. Yeah. Hi.
In terms of like philosophy, like, are you guys considering possibly being in like a Waikiki storefront, or maybe focusing a different direction?
Yeah. So last year we tried a kiosk at Ala Moana. We had a kiosk for about 3 months, you know, and I remember telling my mom, she's right there. I was telling her like, hey, you know, worst comes to worst, like it's free marketing, and it's a good way to put our product out there. And to be honest, the first October and November was pretty tough. Like we broke even, but December came around and it was really good. So I would like to eventually have a retail store. You know, I think that's pretty long term, and I would need to get a lot more presence, like tourist presence, or you know, like whether it's I need to spend more on marketing. I think because I need to get more eyes on our product and more brand awareness. That's another thing I'm trying to work on is like branding it, you know, branding our company. I didn't have a logo until last year. Yeah, my cousin made one for me. She's like, I think we should start making a logo. You know, I've been doing this for 9 years and I had no logo. So we're getting there. Like we're slowly getting there. And hopefully we can we can expand to like the Waikiki market, hopefully. Is that?
It's kind of a follow-up question to his. I know that you said going to craft fairs and handing out samples and word of mouth really helps grow your business.
Yeah.
What kind of things that are you looking at to help market yourself now?
Currently,
Yeah.
we started doing social media marketing. I think that's a big one. We didn't know, like, we never done social media for about the first 8 years. So we started last year. We have noticed it works. Like, even though like they're the funny videos, like the kind of nonsense videos, all that stuff, it garners a lot of attention. And since doing that, our online sales have like doubled, over doubled. So we have noticed that the social media marketing works. Besides that, that's maybe like an email marketing. We did our first discount 2 or 3 months ago, yeah, and it was pretty popular. Like it showed significant, increase in sales, and I think that's good too because while we may not be making it like as much per bag or per item, it spreads our product around faster. Like it gets more awareness because if you buy like one bag, you're probably not going to eat the whole entire bag by yourself. You're probably going to share it, which can only like multiply, our product faster. I'm hoping. Yeah, and if you guys have any tips or like pointers or suggestions or anything, just please feel free to let me know because we're always like trying to improve and get better, and there's probably a lot of brains in this room, so feel free. Yeah.
Do you guys have like sample bags?
We do, yeah, we do have some sample bags. So like in the beginning, we used to pass it out by hand, like just boom, 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 boom. And then, we slowly upgraded to like the little baggies that you can rip on your own. And that's where we're currently at now.
Like flavors?
Yeah, so they can try more. And it's honestly more sanitary. So it's just a little bit more professional, it's not like just with tongs, like giving them out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of follow up to that. You guys have the sample bags, but it's always very generous portion. And you guys also have to use the bag. Is that a lot of extra expenses for you guys?
Yeah, yeah. I never really like led the company by like how much income it makes. It's more like how can we continue to grow it. So like I almost went bankrupt a few times, to be honest, like 2020, 2017, I remember. But honestly, the most important thing to me is just producing the best quality product that I can, and putting that out there because I feel like that's the most important. You put a product out there that you're putting your name on and you're stamping on it, your stamps on it. And as long as you do that consistently and over a long period of time, then I was just banking that it would turn out well, And I think I met you at Made in Hawaii, right? And we did pretty good, I think this is our 9th year. And, I'm pretty proud of that, continuing to put a product out that I can be proud of. Not just kind of like just worried about the money, I guess, yeah. Because the samples they are expensive, the bag, yeah, the big pieces, right? But like, I used to tell my workers, and I still believe this, that when they come to the craft fairs, like Made in Hawaii, you're trying to provide them with an experience. So it's not just like a sale. It's kind of like you want to make them laugh. They come to like our booth anyway, for example, they'll come to our booth, and you want to make them smile, right? Or you want to give them a sample. You want to give them, like, here, try it, right? And I think that's what our company kind of believes in. Even when they're leaving, you want to maybe give them another sample. Or we used to like bring the bag around the table. Like small kind of stuff like that, right? Like bring the bag that they purchased it with around. So hopefully, like when they're in their car, the goal is like when they're in their car going home, they're like, hey, that was the best booth, like Huff and Puff, like, Dad, we had a great time. We got to go back next time, and I think that overall experience is a lot more impactful than the cost of like the little sample thing,
So you mentioned that many distributors like in Japan came to you and do reviews. Walmart came to you, you said no. How did you feel when you had to refuse them?
Oh, it's kind of hard, yeah, because they can be persistent, and then they try and like have you sign all these contracts and all, but you have to just. I know what I'm capable of and how much we can do, and if it's like as much as you would want to do it, I'm sure everybody wants to do it. You have to just be realistic and say, hey, it's not happening right now. But what I tell them is that we're working on, we have these plans, and hopefully in the next few years we can scale up. And when we do that, we would love to work with you guys. It's just not in our cards right now. I think being honest about it, they kind of respect it a little bit more. Like, they're kind of bummed, but it's like, okay, we understand. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Other question? Oh, sorry.
Have you ever had to do any negotiations?
Like with in terms of like costs or.
Yeah, with costs or with other organizations.
Yeah, totally. So when I first started, I had to find the stores to sell it in. And then I realized if I go to these craft fairs and we're selling so much product and we're growing our name that way, the stores would come to us, which gave us a lot more leverage in these situations, when you're talking about negotiations. So like when the stores would come to us, they'd kind of be like, oh, we want to sell your product. I can tell them the price, like this is what we can sell it for, take it or leave it. So it kind of flipped that dynamic, instead of us approaching Foodland and saying, hey, Foodland, you want to sell our product and try? No, Foodland has tried our product already, like the buyers, and then they came to us and said, hey, we would love to sell your product. Okay, well, this is what we can sell it at, But yeah, we do have negotiations, and sometimes you just gotta stand your ground, And we've lost accounts and we've lost other, probably it's too expensive, but you gotta know what you're selling is good too. You gotta believe in what you're doing. Okay. Zach.
It's like a quintessential question for any entrepreneur. What keeps you going, or what kept you going, considering, you say you work now.
Yeah.
At the beginning, you said you was an arcade.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, you're almost going to bankruptcy. You said staffing challenges.
Yeah.
What really kept you going?
It's the wins, Like I'm sure you guys all know, like it's the wins. Like when you do hire that person, and then that person is a great worker, or you can take on that store now, and it makes you feel just like, yeah, like it's a good win when you make that next flavor, right? And it's a hit, or when you start dipping and you start making the boxes, and it's just a progressive thing, and you can look back, and I tell my workers, like the Great Wall of China wasn't built in one day, but after about how many years you look back and you're like, damn, wow, it came a long way. Our packaging, we're upgrading it, and every day it's like a little fight, but then you feel good, when you actually accomplish something, So I think that's what keeps me going,
You got really far. You got your logo now.
Yeah, right. We got a logo, right? We got boxes with our brand, we're branding it. So it's all like just the small steps. And honestly, like when you have a good team, you want to do it all together, and it's all like you just bounce off of each other. And for us, it's a lot of work. Like in our team, they get tired sometimes, but we do the best that we can with what we have, and to see it grow is just it's basically what keeps you going, So, good.
Really?
Yep.
Branen, so thank you for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
So what kind of tips do you have for any of the budding entrepreneurs that are here? If they're
Oh, yeah.
curious about starting their own business, whether it's a product or service,
Yeah.
what kind of tips?
I think if you have the mindset, it's like, what do you have to lose? I mean, you really have nothing to lose at the end of the day, you know. The worst that can really happen is you go bankrupt and you just start again. You know what I mean? This is America. You can just keep trying, right? And, you know, a lot of people say you just got to get it right one time. So it's like, what do you have to lose for one thing? And I think in business, business is basically a lot of hard work. And along the way, you get lucky every so often. You know, every few years, you'll meet a mentor that kind of gives you a little boost, you know, and helps you out this and that. And then you keep working hard, work hard. And you find another tip or another person or somebody that you get lucky. That's pretty much. And the longer you stay in the game, the luckier you get. You know, and that's really, a lot of people give up too soon. I really think so. You know, I think a lot of people just don't stick it out long enough to really see how large it can be. And once you do, it's kind of like a plant. Not everybody waters, and they just kind of leave it alone after a while. But once it starts planting and it starts growing, then it's kind of like, wow, you know. And I think, yeah, that's.
And then when was it that you decided that you were ready, you know, to leave your other jobs and then commit yourself to this business?
I think you just. I wing my whole life. I feel like, you know, I wake up and I wing every day, right? And every day is a winging day. So with that philosophy, you know, I just woke up and I said, okay, just try it. You know, like what do you have to lose? The worst thing, I could go on Craigslist and find 2 more jobs, or I can go on Indeed, find another job. The best thing is like, hey, this thing could work, you know, so you might as well try it. So that's kind of how I felt like about everything my whole life, you know. And other scenarios too, it's always like, what do I got to lose? You know.
Good attitude.
Yeah, thanks. Yes?
Any new flavors for the holiday season?
Oh yeah, we're thinking of doing a strawberry matcha one. Yeah, we tried a strawberry matcha. It's pretty popular. We sold out on that one, but do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, I think the mixed manini bites jar.
A bite-sized mixed jar. Okay, well, we'll make sure we write that down and we'll try that for sure. Yeah, if you guys have any other ideas or suggestions, please let me know, like flavors. You know, I'm trying to work on a kinako macadamia nut one because I think kinako will be popular. Yeah.
Just from Japan.
Yeah, and I think a kinako is kind of, you know, in Japan or in Hawaii, a lot of people eat the kinako mochi like Christmas or New Year's time. So if we could add the mix to like our product, I think that would be a good one. But if you have any ideas, you know, we'd love to try it. And thank you guys again for coming. You know, I really appreciate it and supporting. Oh, thank you.